Hi, I'm Nicola.
And I'm Jay Percy.
And welcome to the Afro Animist Podcast.
We are two animists and spiritual practitioners exploring the secular through the spiritual, discussing life experiences through a sacred lens.
Each week we share our experiences and dive deep into everything in life, from philosophy, metaphysics, obeah, occultism, shamanism, culture, healing, nature, animism,
the arts, pop culture, conspiracies, psychedelics and witchcraft. Nothing is off the table in these discussions, which aim to get to the heart of what it means to be spiritual and Afro-diasporic in an increasingly sterile and authoritarian world.
We keep it real whilst exploring the biggest mysteries of our multiverse. Join us holding this space to laugh, cry, debate, build community and tear down oppressive structures.
On the 15th of October, we'll be speaking live at the Magical Women's Conference about Afro-Indigenous practice and the shadow.
We'll be doing a deep dive into shadow work and using Afro-Indigenous practice to improve the relationship with the self and external world.
Get your tickets at www.magicalwomenconference.com. Look at the show notes for more information and see you there. Welcome, beautiful, beautiful beings of the multiverse, to the Afro Animist Podcast. You're here with me, Jay Percy.
And me, Nicola.
And today we are here with our specially special guest, not to be confused with Nicola, Nicole from Nubian Sorceress. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so excited. We're literally so excited.
We really are.
I was having a bit of anxiety. I was like, imposter syndrome. I was like, and I'm like,
look,
sit.
There's
babe,
absolutely
every
no
single
need for
day. Yeah, Jay will tell you every single day. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Where, like, and she's just like, shut up, get on with it. You're good. And same for you.
That is
Nicole.
Literally what it's like. Yeah, shut up. You're good. You're here.
It is a Nikki thing. It is.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a Nikki, man. It's intense.
Shout out to Nikki's. We're adding the Nikki crowdfunder fund into the bottom of the bio here.
Help us find our confidence.
Distribute it to the Nickies of the world. Nicholas's couldn't be included in. No, can Nicholas's be included in? No, okay, no. Just.
This is the female thing, yeah.
The Nickies, exactly. Get it right, Jay. Where are you at? Anyway, should we do Nicole's bio?
I will, but I will say I had to force these guys that we had to press record because we were just nattering before this call. So I'm already like buzzing for this today. This is going to be fabulous.
I know.
So I'll read Nicole's bio. Nicole is a chef and food content creator on social platforms under the handle Aphrodite's Kitchen. Nubian Sorceress is where she is open about her spiritual life and witchery. Self-studying from books, media, and connecting through ancestors is what started her on her journey of becoming a witch. Her areas of interest are heavily on kitchen and earth witchery. So one thing I noticed about your bio is you use the word witch a lot. And I know, especially within like the Black community or people of colour who are spiritual practitioners, this can feel like a dirty word sometimes.
Yes.
I see you own it so proudly. I absolutely love that. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Wow. When I came out, I haven't actually come out. This is the funny thing.
Well, you're out now.
Yeah, out. Yeah, babe.
But thing is, I went on Nubian Sorceress and my mom followed me. I was like clutching my pearls. I was like, oh my God, she's going to say something. And she hasn't said anything yet, right?
Wow.
Really?
And sometimes she'll or she'll I'll be like, okay. But yes, it's crazy. It's been crazy. I'll tell you the origin story real quick. I'll try to be real quick because I'm a storyteller and I like to go.
No.
We're all storytellers.
We love
tangents,
babe. Take your time.
You're on a podcast. Where better place are you going to get to tell your story?
Tell every detail.
When I was a young girl, and The funny thing is, when I was young, I didn't know I was a witch. I knew something was special about me, to a point where it's like, because of the way Black people are, we have to humble ourselves. We can't think we're
Be
special.
too extra. We're not allowed to do
Yeah,
that.
too extra. I was always extra. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I think
extra.
it's a Nikki thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I get all the extras.
And I remember, like, one time I was in Birmingham, and I literally thought that the world evolved around me. Wherever I walked, then people would start moving. And this was like me as a child. Like, if I turned a corner, people would start moving just for me. I thought I was like the Ed Truman show. Yeah. And then there was one time where, this is the thing I can manifest. I used to pick dandelions, and you know when you blow and you make a wish?
Yeah.
So I wished for roller skates for Christmas. I wanted roller skates for Christmas. I want to have roller skates for Christmas. And then one time I was being fast, and I went in my mum's wardrobe where she hid the Christmas presents, and I saw roller skates, and I was like, yes, oh my God. But then I went, that's not my size. Oh, I realised she bought them for my sister, and I was vexed. So I was wishing hard. I was like, I want roller skates. And then coming up to Christmas, there's no roller skates for me. I was like really upset. So when I opened my Christmas present, I was like, and there was roller skates for me. My mum knew that I would go in the wardrobe, so she hid them somewhere else. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm magical. I wished for these. So what did I do now with my child self now? Yeah. I wished for big tits.
Oh, babe. I should have wished for that.
You didn't wish hard enough.
I want big tits. I want big tits. And lo and behold, God gave me manifested.
Oh, yes.
I don't want them now. Yeah, I want that spell to end.
So we're changing the title of this episode to How to Manifest Big Tits. That is it. Story over. Let's go home. It's a wrap. That is it for this episode.
Here on the Afro Animist podcast, we deal with the important things in life. How to manifest the biggest boobs. And also pray with dandelions.
So it's like, oh my gosh. When I was a young teen, as well, like 15, I could get into nightclubs at 15 because I had these, I was blessed.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but then life happened, things happened, and then I just completely forgot about magic and things like that. And then I just went through life, and a lot of things happened. I don't really...
You don't have to go into them, honestly.
I started to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. Oh. And it was really bad time in my life. And it was like for 10 years, drinking was my tool to cope, to block all these emotions that I didn't know what to do with. When I'd go out clubbing, I didn't realise that I was taking in everybody's emotions. The energy was intense. So I would have to get drunk out of my head to be able to enjoy going clubbing. So then that kind of spilled out into like now when I'm dealing with work in the workplace, I would go home and drink because the day had been so intense and I didn't know at all what to do with it. So a few years later, and then I finally got the courage, like went to the doctor and went, I've got really bad anxiety, depression, I don't know what to do. And I'm drinking to self-medicate. And she's like, well, if you're going to keep drinking, you're going to die. And that hurt me. I was like, shit. So that day I stopped drinking. This was 6 years ago. I stopped drinking. And then 3 months later, I got pregnant. I was like, what? What? No one's another child. Oh my God.
Big changes.
But he is the most amazing child. I've got 2 kids. Latavia, my first daughter, she's 24. And then Zane's 5. So there's a big gap. Because I went to college because I started a food blog where I was blogging about my food adventures. And then everyone would be like, when I posted my pictures on social media, oh my God, Nicole, you should run a restaurant. You should do that. And I was like, yeah, I should. And so I went to college to get professionally trained. And then I was starting, what's that thing called? University to do the culinary arts degree. Yeah. Lo and behold, my ex-partner didn't want to support my dream. He didn't want me to be not working for 3 years while I became. So what happened was our marriage went its separate ways. And then it's so funny because I met Chris, my partner now. He was meant to be like a rebound guy and everything. But my soul just connected to his on a whole different level because, like, I'd been with my ex. We'd been married for 3 years and together for 6 years. And I never got pregnant the whole time. And me and Chris, and I got pregnant, like, stopped drinking, got pregnant. And he is so supportive of my witch. It just takes it with a grain of salt. He does. He is so supportive. He doesn't really. It's not like he doesn't believe. It's not his thing. But he's just so supportive. He doesn't care that I spend money on crystals and stuff. You know.
This is what you need. This is what you
find.
need. Yeah, exactly. That is a find. And I genuinely feel like this. Like, in a relationship, you don't have to do or believe in the same things, but you have to be able to support each other in those things. And I feel like that is the picture of health to me. The picture of health.
Is.
Yeah.
Always supportive.
Allowing you to be your witchiest self.
Definitely.
Exactly.
And then what happened was further that, like a couple of years later, then some friends of mine knew that I was a stay-at-home mom, and it's like, oh, we know a way you can make money. And I was like, okay then. And they said, you can be a tarot operator and talk to people, like, and give them advice and stuff. And I was like, okay, but I don't know tarot. And they were like, oh, you don't need to. Just go on YouTube, watch a few people, see what they do and say. And then because it was what's it called, a typing one, so you just type and you don't have to see the person or anything, to just type, and they pay you per minute or message or something like that. And I was like, all right then, that'll be good because I can sit at home and do that. Now I went on YouTube, started getting into it, and I went, this is me. Reading about empaths, this is me. I feel this is me. And the more I delved, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. I'm a witch. Oh my gosh, all these things are happening to me. So I contacted my friend. I went, oh my God, I can't believe you set me on this path. This is amazing. This wonderful new thing is happening to me. And you know what they turned around and said to me? Oh, you weren't supposed to go that deep. It's just a job.
Hey.
Isn't that crazy how the universe just finds a way to assign you, like, here you go,
your path, this
is your path, this is yours.
And I never did it. I never did that tarot scam thing because to me I couldn't. When I started reading it and what it was about, it was like, this is real. This is real to me. This is what I've been feeling all these years. This is why I've become an introvert, because I've just been wiped out energetically.
Yeah.
So I started to, my biggest thing, I'm hard in meditating. I find it hard to meditate. So I have to meditate in different ways, through art, through cooking. That's how I meditate, because I can't just sit there and just be still. I'm learning to, because I know eventually, to support my journey and where I need to go, I need to be able to just sit there and just take it in. Because I'm really trying to practice the art of silence as well, but it's hard when you've got a partner and a kid.
Yeah, so I saw you post about that on Instagram. Sorry, I was going to say, I saw you post about that on Instagram, and I was like, yeah, that's right. How do you practice the art of silence with a child in your house? How do you do that? I'm sure there's mums out here, they're desperate to know this technique.
Moms, because they're always doing something, and you have to let them be. You have to just let them be children. So I have to find those ways.
Yeah.
So
in all of that path, how did food end up becoming the magical thing to you? How did food become your, like, intended magical practice?
Well, watching these YouTubers and stuff, and that, then I was finding about witchcraft, and at this point I knew nothing about ATR, and I knew nothing about Orbia. So, and hoodoo, that was still, like, further down the line. So obviously, because YouTube algorithm, isn't it, they favour the white witches.
Oh yes, Wicca. We can find out tons about Wicca.
Absolutely. But something about Wicca just didn't sit right with me. I was like, that's still church to me. I feel like it's still church. And that's another thing. My relationship with church and how I used to always question God at church, and the pastors be like, something not right with that child. She's always questioning us.
Oh yeah,
Those are the best ones. Must be a Nikki thing again.
Oh yeah.
But
So when
yeah,
you brought up a Christian?
Yes,
You brought up
Sunday
Christian?
school.
Like
Sunday
proper?
school.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
hard for me. I knew always in the back of my head
Yeah.
that I wanted to practice something else. I wanted to be something else. I believe in spirit, divine, source. You know, I just don't believe in the Bible God. That's not a person who sets rules. You know, I'm not about that life. I don't like rules. I know that there has to be some kind of order.
Yeah.
And, you know, so above as below.
Yeah.
And as within as without. And it's like, how can a man... Oh, let's not get into religion. Let's not do religion. We're doing kitchen witchery.
No. Seriously, please.
These tangents are important. These are important tangents. They really are.
Yeah. It's like, how does... Well, we all know why the Bible was made, don't we? You know, it was to control us slaves. So it's like the way it was written was to put fear in us, to control us. And it's like this person that created us, but then gave us will. But at the same time, if we do bad, you're going to hell. Yeah. And it's like, so that where's the free will in that?
It's really gaslighting, if anything.
What kind of... That's what it is. It's like the ultimate fucked up abusive relationship. I feel like that kind of like the God in the Bible. You're right. He's like some angry, mean, look, don't you dare do anything I haven't told you to do, but here's all the option to do all of those things. I'm not actually going to give you any real guidance in how not to do them, but if you do them, you will burn in hell for eternity. Not even like 10 years.
I don't like the sound of this person.
What is that? It's not fair, is what it is.
It's not
like,
and the other thing as well, I used to have, this is really crazy, and if my mom hears it, she's probably going to turn. I used to have sympathy for Lucifer.
Oh, okay.
As an angel who questioned God and then was cast out, I was like, well, that's not nice. I had sympathy for them.
Yeah.
I didn't see Lucifer as the person that he's the devil and he's the keeper of hell and he tempts you, because you know black people like to say, oh, the devil made me do it. No, he didn't, you know, sweetheart. You did it.
You did it.
You with your free will. You did it. You did it all by yourself. So I guess back to Kitchen Witchery. How has Kitchen Witchery rescued you from the religion?
As well, like, the chef thing kind of tied in, and how I see ingredients. Ingredients to me, it's like I'm not a vegan. I do care about animals and how they're treated, and the more I'm learning about it, it's like I'm not eating red meat now. I will still eat like chicken and fish, seafood, but like red meat, I'm trying to stay away from that. Not just for a spiritual as well as health reasons why I've stopped eating, because I used to love a pork, you see. But you know, I had to stop eating it because it causes a lot of inflammation in the body, and because I'm getting older now, I have to start looking after my body. And this is where Kitchen Witchery comes in as well, because I'm learning about myself as a woman, as a person. I've been lost and wondering for how many years, because I'm 42, and it's like I still don't even know who I am. And I'm finally starting to know. I started crying the other day because I finally know who I am. I've come on here to be a healer. I'm here to heal people, and you can heal people through food. Food is medicine. So now I'm starting to see food. It's like I grow food, and it's so amazing to see this seed turn into something that we can eat. You know, that is magic in itself.
It really is.
You know,
pure
people
magic.
People it's science. It's magic. Like, I am yearning to go to Jamaica because and like hang out in the mountains. It's not about, I do want to stay by the sea because I love water, but I want to go in the mountains where they just pick up food from the ground, and they eat it. It's like, that is magic,
Yeah.
you know.
It sounds so big.
It is, and just the fact that even like when I'm cooking, before I discovered Kitchen Witchery, when I cook, there would be such a ritual way I would do it. And just so much care and like just lovingly looking at the food and how it would change.
So I don't know if you've seen, you probably have. We've all seen this meme going around with like talking about how our ancestors didn't, we don't measure our food. Our ancestors like speak in our ear and tell us when to stop sprinkling, that type of.
Definitely.
You absolutely feel that when you're like.
I feel that. I felt it for years. I will not follow a recipe. You cannot make me follow a recipe. I have recipe books, but you cannot make me follow a recipe. I have to go with my instinct. I will look for guidance. Yeah. For guidance. And then it'll turn into my own. I said one time I set myself the task of actually cooking a recipe and I didn't dive it. It was horrible. The food was horrible. I was like, this is horrible.
It's so funny you say that. My partner's Irish English, and he is down for the Caribbean food. He's down for the home food, but sometimes I will cook, and he'll be like, "Did you not want to follow a recipe on this one? It's like a new thing you're trying." I'm like, "Excuse me, let me pause you right now. We do not come with that white nonsense in this foreign household. We do not do that."
I'm going through the same thing. It's like every time I'm cooking, my partner will complain at me to cook. I'm not the most amazing cook, but I can listen to my ancestors and they help it turn out good. But sometimes I don't listen to them very well and it just turns out how it turns out. And he will always be like, please, the recipe is right there. We've got like 20 recipe books. I just want to eat. I want to know that when I sit down tonight, I'll be able to enjoy my food.
The recipe books are decorative. They're so people know that you have a kitchen.
It's against my soul. It goes against
Nigella Lawson sits there purely so you know I watch Nigella Lawson. It's there for no other reason.
That's it. And Delia Smith. Delia Smith has a special place on the shelf. Touch the book if I need to.
Just take it in, put the hand on the book and absorb. Feel in there.
It is. But the thing is, though, what does get me, though, about when people on the social media will say the ancestors are guiding them.
Yeah.
Some of them, I'm like, which ancestor? Did they die of high blood pressure?
The ancestor that died of salmonella. The ancestor that never had the opportunity of herbs and spices. The ancestor who seasoned their chicken with seawater. That ancestor.
I was gone, babe. You guys are making me have to leave the room. I can't handle this conversation.
Okay, so on this podcast, we actually do have like lists of questions that we attempt to talk about. So, but this does bring us into my next question in terms of like this kitchen witchcraft. It used to be so prevalent within the African diaspora. Why do you think it's all but disappeared, or has it like transmuted? Has it found a new way and people are doing kitchen witchcraft even though they're Christian and not knowing they're doing kitchen witchcraft?
Definitely. I see notes. Oh, what was that whistle? I see notes of kitchen witchcraft. The rituals, like obviously weddings, for example, the wedding cake. That's a ritual in itself, but they don't know it, and if they did, they'd be like,
that's pagan. We're not doing this.
It's the eating, the festivals, the Easter. Easter's a big one. Even though it's cloaked in Jesus, it's still a festival of family, preparing certain foods. There's an element of witchery in it. We know religion stole a lot of its spaces from witchcraft. So I do believe that, and I feel like with the Gen Z, they're embracing it a lot more than like us millennials. It's like I feel like with the millennials, the women that I speak to, we're all kind of late bloomers of witches because it's like we've had to hide it for so long or not research it or have that kind of
Yeah.
access, especially when it comes to African witchcraft and spirituality, because
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of it is obviously it's word of mouth. It's
Yeah.
not written down anywhere. It's so, and it is about connecting with our ancestors.
Yeah. And it can be quite gate kept in some situations as well. I mean, I understand that there are closed practices, like we're in Ubia, it's a closed practice. You've got hoodoo, which, you know, is a closed practice, Vodou, which is a closed practice again. But I think I'm sort of seeing more and more of this, you know, people trying to practice these things, but being told, no, you don't have a connection to this or that because you're not in this tradition. So it does feel like there's still a bit of a barrier. With one of the interesting things about Wicca is they will let anyone and everyone in, which is why it's probably so prolific, you know, this European type of witchcraft. Whereas the African spirituality, perhaps there's still a bit of a you know, a resistance. Maybe there's a bit of a trauma there of people coming in and just taking and robbing and leaving.
Definitely a trauma, especially with what happened with slavery.
Yeah.
It's basically, you know, we had our beautiful fields, our crops, and then the colonials came in, saw it, and instead of saying teach us, they just took the people and then let them do it. And as we know in our Caribbean, instead of them joining tribes together, they split everybody up. And that's why we have a mixing pot. You know, my food is Caribbean, is Asian. I found out that I have Asian heritage, well, Chinese, my mom says heritage. And then on my dad's side, there we have Tahino as well. And it's like when I found out these things, I'm like, that's why I knew. I knew it wasn't just African in me, because I love my Chinese food, you see.
Me too, babes.
And I always felt weird, like posting it on social media, because if we want to get cultural appropriation of food.
Well, I think this very American concept, there's a lot of African Americans who get very, very upset that, you know, you could admit to having a piece of this or a piece of that in you. Because it's, you should just be embracing the African, when the reality is when you were brought to the New World, there were different things within your bloodline, or even if it's just a smidgen, but those are so many thousands of ancestors. I think I worked out like the thousands of ancestors that I have that took to make me in my like tiny percent of like Indian. But literally without those thousands of people, I wouldn't exist. And even though it's a tiny percent, like, would you see a crowd, a room full of thousands of people and say, oh, that's inconsequential? It's not inconsequential, because it would have informed your DNA, it informs some of your culture, it informs how you spice your like curries. I mean, I even think like curry goat is so friggin' fascinating. It's an African curry with Chinese and Indian spices. Like, that's
well, this is
crazy.
it.
And then like
the
a
Caribbean.
Thai from England.
Yeah, because pepper pot stew, which is a Nigerian dish, doesn't have the curry, and it's kind of prepared in the same way. But then you add the curry, which was in Jamaica, but obviously it came from the Maroons. You know, the Maroons did that because we had to use what was available. Hence, you know, we had to, like jerk, the way jerk was, and jerk's history. When I found out about that's, I'm a jerk snob. So when I see people making jerk on Instagram and stuff, I'm like, that's not jerk.
I won't be posting my
no, I won't be either.
Anytime. I'll just leave that off of the page.
No, you can cook it. It's like when oven jerk. What can we do? Because this is another thing with Kitchen Witchery. It's had to evolve over time, especially when the Jamaicans came to Britain. See, the way I was brought up eating Jamaican food is different to the Jamaican food in Jamaica, because my mom didn't have access to the ingredients that they have in Jamaica. Now, Jamaican cookery is not full of powdered seasonings. Yeah, it's more pure. It's lots of fresh peppers, herbs. Spring onion is the favorite, isn't it? Yeah. And everything's just fresh and light. That's why they have good skin over there and their body's toned and athletic, because they'll eat like a big, bountiful meal and that's it for the rest of the day. But over here, we don't have, well, we do now because of importing, but when we were growing up, we didn't have that. So we had to depend a lot heavily on the powdered seasoning. But then what happens is our community are now suffering with high blood pressure, diabetes. Because I remember seeing someone put a quote where, oh, that Jamaican recipes are dying out. No one's making cassava cake, pudding, toto, and things like that. But we say it's not dying out, it's that we have to start looking after our health. Those were meals that were prepared and made because of slavery. They didn't know when they were getting their next meal. So their meal had to be calorie laden. It had to last them so that they could work all day in the fields. So what we need to do is, we can have our traditional, it's moderation. We have it special occasions. We write them down now because then people can see these recipes we have instead of saying they're lost. They're not going to be lost if we make a written, write down, oh God, what's the word?
A record?
Record it. If we record it, recipe books and stuff. So it's not that they won't get lost. It's just that we have to start eating better, as Black people.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's interesting you say about the right. Obviously, we just had the whole chat about like listen to your ancestors, don't follow a recipe, but then saying about writing it down and making a record, because I feel like in my family we've been, that's something that my grandmother didn't do. She died quite young. She was 63. She died like really randomly. It wasn't expected, and she took everything with her. Like all those recipes. She was the one who cooked. And it was one of those things you go and say to her, how do you make that fruitcake? Oh, you just put a little bit of this, taste it, put a little bit of that, maybe some of that. None of her children know how to cook. And there's this place in me where I'm just like, you should just written one of those recipes down. You just one of them. And I feel like this is really important, because now obviously we've had that movement from Africa to across the world to the Caribbean, like we're talking about, and then from the Caribbean we've had this next migration, which then has created even more separation from from our culture and our food, everything. And I feel like there is a responsibility to create some kind, like, to create these records, and I feel like a lot of people are doing it now. We'll be waiting for your book, basically, babe.
Yeah,
it's coming. But the thing is, it's like, I want to do it where it's, cause, a lot of people now start putting out Caribbean books, but mine needs to be different because I want to be successful. So it will have an element of kitchen witchery and healing in it.
Nice.
So as well, because I'm drinking my tea as well. Let me just thingy. I made a tea where.
What's in your tea?
Lavender. It's tranquil tea. I never made this one myself, but it's a tranquil tea. This is my favourite one at the moment.
Oh, it looks really nice.
It is. This was from TK Maxx. So when you get things like that, you just people.
I just got one of those from TK Maxx the other day, the calm one with Damiana in it.
Yes,
I literally got the same brand.
And Vervain is in it. And when I saw this, I was like, check you out, TK Maxx. Look at your blends,
That's what I was thinking as well. I was like, let me buy all these up. What's happening here? How is witchcraft in this shop?
Which stock is taking over TK Maxx?
Yeah. It's dangerous in there. It's dangerous. Don't go in there. You spend lots of money. And this is, so I was like, let me drink this to calm myself down so I'm not so,
So when you're drinking your tea, do you do the sort of witchy thing of speaking your intentions over it? Like, how will you prepare your tea so it is infused with like your essence, your magic?
Well, because I'm also a showboater as well. So I changed my kettle. I got a whistling kettle. Because a whistling kettle reminds me of when I was young and my mum used to make tea and the whistling and like little magical things like that. So I bought a whistling kettle And so that starts it off, like the whistling kettle. And then when I'm putting the spoons in, I'm like, okay, so I need you to, like, I'm telling the herbs that I need you to help calm me down. And I'm going to drink you, and I'm just going to go into like a state of meditation. Now, I was doing a ritual where I'd wake up before everybody else, and then I'd make myself a tea, and I'd sit down, light a candle, light some incense, and just sit there and just enjoy the flavour of the tea. And sometimes I'd put on some frequency music, or just sit there, and it's so good. It starts the day off so good. And it's good for me. It's also good for my family, because I can be a snappy bitch.
Can't we all?
No, I'm so that.
So my witchery it's for my well-being as well, and eating right. And I know that if I start eating processed food a lot, it messes with me mentally and my body, and then I get anxious because I'm putting all these chemicals into my body. So I do tell myself off. I'm learning the art of being soft with myself and gentle with myself, because I can tell myself off a lot. And that stems from childhood, being told off a lot, not being who I want to be, So it's like just cooking. But the tea became, when I started the tea rituals, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. So then I started buying, like, I've got lavender, jasmine, I've got pink and red rose petals, hibiscus, which we call sorrel in Jamaica.
Sorrel, yes. Love me a bit of sorrel.
The hibiscus is a potent one. And you can only drink that for about 2 weeks straight. Don't drink it longer than that, because it will start having side effects. Like, you'll start getting the runs.
Oh, like what?
Really?
The runs.
Oh, I literally didn't know that.
Runs, and then it'll give you like jitters. So with hibiscus, you can only. And in a way, it's weird, because when you think about it, when they prepared sorrel and we drank it over Christmas, Jamaicans don't really drink sorrel all through the year. No. It was a Christmas drink. No. So that kind of makes you little thinking things where it's like, oh, could they know? Cerasee is another one. Bush tea. When we were sick, my mum would be like, go drink some cerasee. And I hated it. It was so nasty.
It's so bitter. It's so bitter. I keep it in my cupboard, and I feel virtuous for having it there, but
you're not going to use
it. It lives there for display. No, I have it on occasion, and I try and like G myself up, like, you should do this week. It's gonna really help you. But my God, is it bitter, and it can't be fixed with sugar. It can't be fixed with honey. It is just
I haven't
to the point. It. I'm going to give you some.
I haven't had
it. Is.
That's okay.
We're going to have to send you some now.
So I found a way to drink cerasee where it's not so bitter. And the thing is, you can't steep it as long as... We've been taught to steep it for a long time and to boil it, literally. What you need to do is just pour hot water on it and let it steep for no longer than 5 minutes. Yeah, that is enough time for it to wake up. The energy in the cerasee for it to wake up. Yeah. I think we have this thing where, the longer and the stronger it is, the better it's going to work. It's not always necessarily the case. So when I'm drinking cerasee, I will just steep it in hot water for 5 minutes. And then that I can drink it so much better then. Because, as a child, I was like, this thing's bad. Yeah.
It's clear you out.
And what are the properties of it? Just for our listeners who don't know about these herbs we're talking about, why would you drink cerasee?
Why would I use it?
What is it for?
I have to get my book of shadows now for that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Get your book of shadows. Do you know what? I think it's really great having this book of shadows, because we've come from a schooling system where you're taught you have to remember everything off the top of your head.
No,
I don't know that. Where am I storing that? I'm 31. My memory fell off a cliff when I was like 22. Like it gets written down. I refer back to it. If I remember, that's a bonus.
Yes.
And that was
so we need this is why we truly have the grimoire.
Yeah. This is why we have grimoires.
So to start off with, it's weird because I have this I have a perfectionist trait.
Yeah.
So I realised I wasn't starting my book of shadows because I realised I wanted it to be this pretty, elaborate looking thing. And I even taught myself cursive handwriting again because we've forgotten how to write. And it's like now I've started cursive handwriting again. So that when I get my proper one, so this is my temporary one. This is just my one where I just throw in, just give you a little. I'm not bothered if people see this. This is not my deep dark one. Like what's hidden. My book of my shadow work one is no one can see that. It's basically like we just have.
Okay.
So we got like
that's really cool.
See, this must be another Nikki trait because, like, Nicole, I do think this is another Nikki trait because seriously, do you know how many books I have half finished that I've had to start new books. I didn't like my handwriting. Okay, no, it's not neat enough. I wanted actually these pages before those pages, so I'm gonna have to start the whole thing again. Let me rewrite out 200 pages of like 10 years of work. Like this is a repetition that I carry on
Nikki,
in my life.
You have journals that you haven't touched because they're too pretty as well? Like I've got journals that are so pretty, I haven't even written in them yet because I'm like, I don't want to spoil you.
I have a journal from I was 15 years old. So this book is almost as old as me. I haven't touched it. Too pretty. Yes.
The art of journaling. We need to have this as a whole like side episode. The art of journaling, the art of the book of shadows.
Do you know what? Journaling, man. I really want to get back into it because I was even reading recently by a psychologist saying it's one of the best ways to kind of like really begin to understand yourself, almost better than therapy in a sense. Like if you're journaling regularly, then you can have the ability to actually look back and see the evolution of your thoughts or where they haven't changed. I actually need to stop being lazy and doing that again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I completely get that. I think it's really cool you have this book of shadows.
Yeah, you finding out
okay, I haven't got Cersei in here. I haven't got Cersei.
Okay, well, what's coming up?
Agrimony. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
One of the things I'll just say this. Kitchen Witchery is getting to know the herbs and working with the herbs. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I've been trying to do is for a month, I'll work with a herb. And last month, I worked with thyme. Mm-hmm. And this month, I'm working with agrimony. Now, agrimony is one that I picked up from a woman who is on YouTube. And she's an obeah woman. And I just took to her straight away. And I listened to her name's Priestess or Set Ramen, I think. Mm-hmm. And she's like saying that she loves agrimony. And I love agrimony too. It's from India and I was using it it's really good for defensive magic. Okay. And I use it as incense and I use it in my protection pocket packs, little packs that I make, and then I'll put them around the house. Mm. And I made some with so the last, because I don't do a lot of spells work that's outside of cooking. So I did, where is it? Come on, Nick. Oh, there it is. The agrimony incense blend that I did was 2 tablespoons of agrimony. Let me see. It's so, with podcasts, it's crazy because only the people that are watching can see physically. So this is agrimony.
So everyone, tune into YouTube right now to see the herbs that we're looking at.
If you're on Spotify, listen on Spotify, and then Apple Music, and then
go to YouTube.
and then rate us on all 3. 5 stars, thumbs up, subscribe.
Yes, and share.
So what is that, your agrimony? And share, yes.
With eggshells. The eggshells that I do use, I will go out of my way to buy local farm eggs because there's more power in using stuff that's around you. Yeah, because you're picking up the energies and working with the energies that are around you. So I will use those, and free range eggs as well. You don't really want to using eggs from the supermarket because most likely those chickens, they've been through some bad shit.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to swear. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. You're allowed to swear.
We don't need what you want, babe.
So the trauma is going to pass through to their eggs. Yeah. And it's funny because people are like, oh my gosh, your eggs are so orange. they're so bright. And I'm like, yeah, I have to pay money for my eggs because I want to have them from Happy Chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the eggshells will come from local eggs. And then I use cassia bark instead of cinnamon, because cassia bark, it's got psychic abilities, whereas cinnamon, it's more of a fast acting.
Cinnamon is what I would use for like money.
Yeah,
I
money.
like to sprinkle it
Yeah.
with some nutmeg in my purse to carry that around with me to attract money.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. So with cassia bark, because they're the
cassia,
same.
I was just going to say, is cassia bark, that's better for if you have things like diabetes as well, isn't it? Because it helps you regulate your insulin.
Yeah. Very. So it's good for, it's a good healing thing. And that's why as well, they use it more in Asian cooking because, we have a history of diabetes.
Yeah.
But then you got garlic skin as well. Garlic's good for cleansing. And then in the loose incense blend, I also put pink Himalayan salt and grind that up, and that's to cleanse as well. Thyme sprigs, that's healing and mental clarity. And then the garlic also keeps away negative entities. And then red chili to just give that spell a little bam.
Yeah.
Heat it up.
A little pick up the ass.
Pick up the ass. So then you take all these and you put them in a cast iron pan. And this is another thing. It's weird. We digress again. The Jamaican Dutch pot. To me, that is a cauldron.
It's a cauldron. It's a textbook cauldron.
That is a cauldron. The Dutch pot is a cauldron. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like when Jamaican people they cook outside. Yeah, in the fire.
Yeah.
That's magic itself. Yeah. That's one thing I actually want to learn to do. I want to learn how to cook outside, because you know where we're going in it with these electricity prices and things. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Gosh, Nicole, I will come. I will come. I will teach you how to build the best fire to do your cooking on. You just bring your Dutch pot, bring your jerk wood chips, and we will get going.
Yes,
seriously.
Yeah, because we can't get jerk. The good thing to do, what I do when I'm jerking, is pimento berries. Just soak them in water and then add them to the barbecue, and that helps.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like pimento chips. It's
really hard to get pimento chips, so just soak pimento seeds and then put them in the fire, and that will help, because that's the same nice smell.
That's the lovely mixed spicy, all spicy smell that you.
I love pimento.
Such a good idea.
I love it.
Oh my
it
gosh,
smells so good.
I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Who's bringing me food? Which one of you is doing it?
I love it. It's so funny because food is love. Yeah, food is love. We love to eat. Food is love, and it's like that's my love language, feeding people. Yeah. Like when I go to someone's house, I carry my knife with me, because my knife is it's like my affirmate. Yeah. People are like, why you come with your knife? Oh, it's my knife. Yeah, this is how it's my knife. I'm not going to use yours.
Amulets.
That's got their magic in. Yeah, I have to use mine.
Yeah.
So my friend was like, I can't believe you've come here. Like, where I went to visit my friends a few days ago. Not a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago. And she's like, why have you come with a suitcase? I have to. All my tools are in there.
I love it.
Do you have one of those big chef kits with 1 million knives that cost £1,000 a piece? That type
gosh, no. I am very because if you remember, my name before was the Frugal Alchemist.
Yes.
Because I'm very stingy when it comes to stuff. So I'll buy a decent knife, but I won't buy a lot. And that's another thing.
Well, you just need one knife that works. So you just need the one, in my opinion. You just need the one knife that works, in my opinion.
One little one. I have one little one, and then I have a chef's knife, a proper chef's all-purpose knife. Yeah. And then if I'm doing anything fancy, like I was doing melon balls, I'll carry my melon baller. It's like this kitchen is it's not big enough for me. I need a bigger kitchen. The end game for me is to have a nice cottage house and a big garden. I don't care if the bedrooms are small.
The dream.
Small. The kitchen has to be big.
Yes.
That's it. We're with you.
Yeah.
We'll have the cottages and
Yeah,
land next to each other.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come to your house for dinner.
I would love to have another like fantasy that I have is just to have a small community of black witches,
Yeah.
and I don't mean like just black witches, black, white, everybody's welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you need to go away because it's only for people that are like introverted, not to keep to themselves, and just have a community. I think we do lack a lot of community like that. And I think that's why I was drawn to church as well, because I love the community in church, but I just didn't like the religion.
On that note, how can Kitchen Witchcraft bring us back into a sense of community? Before we, just so you guys know, before we even press record, we started going off on a sort of side note about how it's important to actually have community and, come together and meet. And that's just for the listeners, just so you know. So how do you think Kitchen Witchery can bring us all back together? How can that be accomplished?
Well, to me, how I see it is like where there's a chopping board, where there's food, where there's people, sometimes you can get everybody involved, like as well with teaching children, because we need to teach children how to cook, in this day and age, because a lot of kids now have noticed, like as well, especially during the COVID time, a lot of people learned how to cook. Some people did not know how to cook. They were so dependent on eating out constantly or takeaways and stuff. And when that wasn't available to them, and then it just became a big influx of people like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to cook. And then as well, like my channel, Aphrodite's Kitchen on Instagram, it started to, get a bit more attention. Not as big as I would like to have done, but it got attention because people were like, oh my gosh, you're cooking, I'm watching you cook and how to cook. So to me, it's like Kitchen Witchery. It's bringing the community together as well, not just for communities, but as well as our health. We need to start looking after ourselves, and we have to teach, like there's a lot of popularity with eating food that pulls, and that is just full of cheese and stuff, and it's like you're not going to live long if you're constantly eating food like that. And I've had to, like, I've got my young boy, and I realized, Nicole, you need to lose weight. Sometimes I can't keep up with him. I need to lose weight, and part of that is like I know that I need to start eating healthier, eating better. So as a community, we have to teach each other as well how to eat better. It's going to be hard because a lot of people are stuck in their old ways. And they're like, no, this is how I do it. This is how I must do it. And the one thing is funny because I noticed that my food was heavily salted. So I had to remove some of the salt from my cooking. And with that was a lot of them all-purpose seasonings I stopped using.
They are laden with them.
Yeah. So I use, like, if I buy paprika, it will be like smoked paprika that's from Spain because it's not got no salt in it. And then at the end of the meal, when I finished, because it was just the other day, I actually threw out my adobe, my lemon pepper, them ones of sazon, because they're full of salt. And that's what, it causes high blood pressure, it causes diabetes. Not only is salt, it's dehydrating, which causes us our brain not to function properly when we're dehydrated. And this is where we have our mental health issues. So that's why cutting back on salt and the Kitchen Witchery, it's not just, if we take away the word witchery, because that's what people are going to get scared of, we have to take away, and it's just healing. We have to heal with our food. And as well as, to me, the fun part about it is, it's learn the magical side, the protection and stuff, but also the part like, where's the time? Like with time is a medicine. And with time, you can use it to, it helps you sleep as well, like drinking time tea at night will help you have a restful sleep. So it's not always things like we have to buy these, and that's a
Nicole or NyQuil or,
yes, and they're just chemical pharmaceutical stuff, Like, we don't need that stuff anymore. The word, to me, like the word witch, when I was researching the word witch, because I used to have, like, every time I hear it, I used to like, ugh. But because
Mhm.
the more shadow work I did, the more I stepped into my power, the more I started to love myself. The word witch doesn't scare me. The only thing is, it's that it scares other people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of Hollywood, a lot of patriarchy has had their hand in making the word witch this weird,
An ugly
horrible word.
word, scary word.
It's like
Yeah.
even Indians in Urdu, the Urdu language, the word witch is translated as an ugly, decrepit woman.
Oh,
And you're like,
yeah.
what?
Hey,
So it's
not here, not over here.
I'm fabulous.
definitely not nothing but
Fabulous.
beautifulness. Yeah. So it's, to me, it's like the healing,
Yeah.
looking after each other as a community, um, educating ourselves again with food, educating ourselves for using herbs as a medicine. We need to start using herbs as a medicine. Not all the time, because we're so dependent on having quick fixes, because using herbs as a medicine is more longer than using the synthetic versions. Like having antibiotics.
Yeah.
I had a really bad cyst and I used the garlic and clove method. Didn't work for
Oh,
me because the cyst had
okay.
gone too far.
Yeah.
And what it ended up doing more is made it inflamed. And so I had to go to the dentist and take antibiotics. So
Yeah.
because of the antibiotics now, it stripped my system completely of nutrients and everything. So after the antibiotics course, I just went plant-based for a week to restore all my minerals and nutrients that the antibiotics. Now people don't really know that, do they? It's like, and that's
No,
what we need to be
we're
out
not
there.
taught. Once you take antibiotics, that's it. But really,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole, you need to restore your gut bacteria, the
Yeah.
flora, getting that sauerkraut actually like
Mm-hmm.
strengthen the system again, because you've literally just stripped your whole, if you think of your body as like
All
a host
bacteria.
city, you've just
Yeah.
wiped out that host friggin' city out of your whole system, and that's, it's not great. One thing I like to do is forage birch polypore. So I have a huge jar of birch polypore. So if I am finding something that is a bit more bacterial, I know how to work with that, and I know
Mm-hmm.
how and when to implement that into my diet. But
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, it's about making sure that the overall terrain of myself is like healthy and well kept, and I'm not just relying on these things till the last minute. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know it's ever present in my psyche and in my body. um, I would love, I'm sure we would both love, if you could share a couple of kitchen witchcraft spells that people can do while they're like cooking,
Yes, please.
something like that.
One I've got is that's an ongoing spell and
Yes.
it's every day is fenugreek
Oh, yes.
seeds. So what
Yeah.
you do, this is a money spell with fenugreek, and every
Ooh.
day, and it brings money into the house,
Good.
and it brings money into the house. So you have a little jar,
Yeah.
and every day you add a few seeds in, and as you put the seeds in, your intention is money is coming into this house. Money is coming into this house, and
Yeah.
so and then when it's finally full, then you put it and you go and bury the seeds in the garden.
Oh,
So that is one there. Another
amazing.
one is a dressing that I like to use for joy and happiness. It's an orange and mint one.
Yeah.
So you just grind up the mint, squeeze the orange, and then you add honey and a bit of black pepper. And it's just a simple one. But while you do it, you take the mint leaves in your hand and you program the mint leaves to
I
do,
love
because
that
mint
word,
can have,
program.
yeah, it is, it's programming. And
Yeah.
this is the fundamental thing about kitchen witchery. Lots of
Yes.
these herbs and spices do have multiple uses
Yeah.
because not everybody has access to everything. So everything has multiple using. So when you use it, you get your intention and you program it. You tell it what you want it to do.
Yeah.
So you will tell the mint what you want it to do. You will tell the orange that I want you to bring me happiness and joy. You will use the honey and you'll be like, honey, I want you to sweeten my day and
Yeah.
make it, And then with the black pepper, you'll be like, I want you to banish any negative thoughts and entities that are out for me. Out
Yeah.
for me. So yeah, and that's like a nice mint, and I love that one. I'm using that one a lot recently, especially on fruit, and then
Yeah.
you can just put it on fruit with some salads as well.
Wow.
And that's a nice little dish that you can have.
I love the
And then another
simplicity of
one is a really cute one that you can do with your partner,
it.
and this one is for, because sometimes you can get a bit, you forget that there's romance in the house, and what you do is you get an apple, and you
Yeah.
look at each other in the eye, and you hold the apple, and you just share that moment of bonding with the apple, and then you cut the apple in half, and then you just share it and eat it, and you just look at each other in the eye, and that
Wow.
is my little love spell of just strengthening that bond with your partner.
I I absolutely love how like accessible, and I like that you started with money, but I like that all of them have like these different purposes, because I
Yes,
think we can all get too drawn into, let's just do a money spell, money spell, money spell. There are so many other spells, there are so many other areas in your life that need focus than just
of
money.
course.
And the apple spell is so nice and romantic. That's so
It is,
sweet.
yeah. Without
Yeah.
having to, you don't have to go out for a meal, you
No.
know, and you can do little things like that,
Yeah.
you know, with kitchen like an apple, because the apple just it's love, it's fertility, you know, you don't want to get
Yeah.
pregnant yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I just
it,
love it. I love it, especially what Jay's just said. Like, it's the simplicity of it. It's
Yeah.
so
yes,
simple, and I feel like this is, this is part of, for me anyway, with the obia, like why it's so profound and so incredibly useful for my life, because
Mm.
it's when you can be simple, use what you've got, and
Mm.
work with intention. Like, then you
yes,
literally can do it. You're unstoppable. There's like, if you're not trapping yourself in the, we need to light 5 white candles and walk around in a circle 7 times
no,
and,
no, no,
get
no,
our tips
no.
out and then throw, whatever it is. It's like, it's
And
the
this two
simplicity
thousand
of it.
pound crystal.
Two
Yeah,
thousand pound crystal.
I
Honest,
have,
I
I have
love
that.
that.
This is my amethyst, and it's only a little tumbler one.
Yeah.
But it's
Hmm.
like it's just holding it. This has history. This has probably been on the earth longer than we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be
Hmm.
big. Big doesn't always mean powerful. So it's like
Yeah.
you just hold
Yes.
this, yeah, and
Yeah.
you just feel it. You can feel the history.
Yeah.
You know, like when
Hmm.
people say, "Oh, go get graveyard dirt to do a spell." You don't need to, because
Yeah.
there's life underneath us. Everywhere we step, life wants.
Once
There's
lived.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's dead bodies where we step. Everywhere we go, the whole world is a graveyard. That's
The
the,
whole world
Hmm.
is a graveyard, and what better note to conclude this episode on? Nicole, this, we want you back. I'm thinking the art of
1,000%.
journaling. I kind of, that's in my
There,
mind. I'm seeing
there's
it
yeah,
in
so much.
future.
yeah. Definitely
It's,
the art of journaling. What else do I like? More earthy, deep, like connecting. Like sometimes I'll do magic where it doesn't even involve the kitchen. So we could
yeah.
talk about that
Hmm.
another time as well.
Earth
Oh
Witchery.
yes.
Yeah, because if you've got Earth
Um,
Witchery, that would be so lovely. Tell us where we can find you. How can we stalk you online?
oh, you can't. I don't want to be seen. Can't.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you
Drop
can
those
find me
handles,
on
babe. Drop those
Instagram.
handles. Yeah.
On Instagram, I am definitely under the handle Aphrodite's Kitchen, and it's spelled
Yeah.
AFRODYETE. And it was meant to be a play on the fact that I'm Afro, and it's it was one of them.
And a
It was my
goddess.
gamer handle, actually. It was my gamer handle when I used to be a gamer, the Aphrodite.
What?
Yeah. So I'd always use that name as my gamer handle. And I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't know how to come up with it. I was like, Tay, I don't know how. My daughter, I was like, I need a name for my kitchen. I don't know what to call it. She's like, oh, what about Aphrodite's Kitchen? I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Oh,
Aphrodite
that's
is the
nice.
goddess of love. And that's what I do when I cook with love. So that's
Oh,
where Aphrodite's Kitchen came from.
yeah.
And you
Love
can
it.
catch me on, if you want more of a spiritual, more witchy side, which I'm hoping to post more content on my more witchy side, is at the moment it's Nubian Sorceress. And Nubian is because I am black, I am Nubian. And source is what I believe in, around me, source, divinity. And rest is energy.
Yeah.
Energy. It's energy, and energy is everywhere. Energy is in everything. And that's just my thing, energy.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
thank you so much for having me today. So
I know, we've loved it. We've loved it. I could
I
chat to you
can't
for
wait
hours, Nicole. Like,
already.
seriously.
I know. I could have. We could be here all day, honestly.
Yeah, but no, I was
Really.
looking at the time. I was like, oh, it's an hour gone already. Oh my gosh.
But that's honestly just a
No.
sign that we definitely need to have you back on talking about all of the other types of witchcraft that you can be involved in, because you're right. This witchcraft, it's so expansive. You know, people get scared by the name, but you know, it's about is moving the energy that already exists in
Yes.
your will, in your favor. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that at all?
Exactly. It's us taking our power without the middleman, which is the person at church.
Yes,
And I'm like,
Exactly.
we can connect ourselves to the divine. Yeah.
exactly,
We
exactly.
just
And
have to
what
have
better way
faith
to
in
do it through
ourselves.
food?
Through food.
Yeah.
Through
Exactly.
food.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. You know, we're going to drop all of our information as to where you can find us at the end here. I've been Jay Percy.
And I'm Nicola. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Thank you, beautiful being of the multiverse, for joining us on the Afro Animist podcast.
If you want to get stuck into the conversation or have a question about anything we speak about here, join our mailing list and find us on our socials.
On TikTok and Instagram, find us at the Afro Animist podcast.
On Twitter, you can find us at Afro Animist. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, you can also find this talk on YouTube. Just search for us and we will pop up as if by magic.
If you're loving what we're talking about here, share, like, and subscribe. And remember to leave us a thumbs up or 5-star rating on your favourite platform.